Hi, Warriors. How's everyone doing today? We have some risk off occurring today. Hi, Mike, Blake, Steve, AJ, came in. How are you? James, Ryan, full team. Ran, credit spread starting to widen yesterday. Junk bonds, HYG under pressure, broke a trend line. Let's go to work. Okay. Okay. All right, let's start off with Ryan. So Ryan went to 1480. I did the reverse out trade there. Just lightly long euro. Am I crazy? After taking shorts in?
Well, you're 9 pips up, so you're not that crazy at the moment. Yeah, I think if I don't know what your target's back up, what one up to the 200 DMA there.
I don't even have one yet.
Yeah.
It just was, that was my target, and I thought, if that's where I'm covering, I'll buy it here. I mean, it was kind of took a lot of patience to sit for this one, this
Yeah.
target. So
No, nice run, mate.
that
Nice trade.
thanks. But it tells me when it's a struggle to get to your target that there's something else building in there. I wouldn't reverse if it would have gotten there in 3 days from when I put it on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so a little divergence. Did we get something out of the UK to pressure cable?
Yes, just our chancellor deciding to take the unprecedented step of I don't know. I still don't know what to describe it. She's come out thinking that if she tells us we're going to get punched in the face, it's going to hurt less when we eventually get punched in the face. It was a very weird situation. She came out. She didn't tell us what was happening in the budget, only that we were all going to get a shoe-in, basically. So market
Okay.
didn't like that, and
Yeah.
the pounds offered because of it. Although there's a bit of that euro break hasn't helped euro sterling. It was up into the 88s,
Yeah.
but now that break of 115 has seen the air come out of that tire. But I think as far as your long goes, I think you've got to be careful. If we can't get back above 115, we could be heading lower.
Okay. You tell this story about the prime minister. Is that what she is, or a
The
chancellor?
chancellor.
Okay. That the fact that she's doing this before is kind of a pretty good tell. It's not going to be good, and that they're
Yeah.
probably pricing a lot of it into it right now, so that when it comes out, it might be a sell the rumor by the facting cable. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I've been saying that for the last couple of weeks. We know that
Okay.
the market's been getting bearish the quid over this budget, and the more it does that, the greater the sell rumor by fact trade is. So yeah, well, I'm fully prepared for that. I mean, I've been long euro sterling since July on the back of all
Yeah,
this. Um,
you're another lifestyle trade.
yeah, no, I wish it wasn't a lifestyle trade this one, but yeah, I think that could be the case, but there's a bit of divergence because we're not seeing UK yields reacting. She didn't really say anything on the fiscal side, and that's what yields are concerned about. How's she going to pay for all this, and how much borrowing she has to do? So yields are holding up pretty okay in the UK, and it's just the pound and elsewhere that's getting clobbered at the moment.
Okay, you are starting to get a little non-confirmation here, Ryan. Just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
The RSI readings above here. It's a shade under 30, but it's been trying to diverge for a couple weeks now. So um, that may give it a foothold. I wouldn't be short pound down here. Anyone who is, I think they're so
Yeah,
late to the party, at least short term anyway.
I agree. And if you want to trade the pound, I probably wouldn't do it in against the dollar anyway, because if we get bad news from the data this week, cable could be back up at 132 pretty quickly. So yeah, if you want to trade the pound, it's best to look elsewhere than in
Okay.
cable.
Okay, so I covered some more of my Aussie shorts from over 66 here. Um, Pretty ugly looking. Uh, what do you think of the commodity currencies? Canada making a marginal new high
Yep.
and Aussie under pressure. So that, the commodity currencies have held up the best. What do you
Yeah,
do
that.
with Aussie here? We did have an RBA meeting, right?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
nicely done on that trade as well, mate. But yeah, I mean, I was expecting at most, if we got a confirmation pop when they held rates steady, I think it moved up about 20, 25 pips before collapsing. Yeah, we were wondering this yesterday on the Flow Show. Was the Aussie holding up, just waiting to get over that RBA hump before then catching up with what all the other US dollar pairs have done? And that looks to be the case. But we've got some risk off, as you
Yeah.
mentioned. Gold's down. So yeah, this is a bit of a, call it a safe haven move. You're not seeing that much of a bid in US yields though. Intraday, yes, but they're still bounced from after the Fed. So yeah,
So
it's just
what?
another mixed
Yeah.
day.
So what are the reporters saying about what's causing risk off in equities today? I know that the spread that we had some widening of credit spreads yesterday and junk bonds were under pressure. What are they blaming this break on?
I think there's a lot of things in the mix again. Um, we've had that. We've had obviously the repo stuff going on.
Yeah,
Crypto's got a knock yesterday because of some problems at Balancer or some DeFi firm that they lost 100 and something million. So that's what done crypto. So I just think we're just having one of those days where people are waking up in a bad mood, and when that happens, you still risk.
okay. All right. Thanks, Brian. Nice recap of what's going on.
Mate.
Number one thing you're looking at for today that you might be considering initiating?
Well, I was interested in dollar yen, trying to get a sell into maybe 140, 154 and a half, 155, but that's been shot in the foot as well. And that's going a bit the opposite way to what the other dollar pairs are going. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's unusual.
there's just a few moves. I'd like to see a break up in dollar CAD because I'm still long a bit there, and a breakthrough 80s could be a bit of a runner. They will probably slam straight into 141 pretty quickly.
Okay. So,
Oh, and dollar mix. I've got to mention, we talk about dollar mix.
oh,
That might,
okay.
that might be finally breaking out above that 1850.
Boy, that took patience. Yeah, that looks all right.
Yeah, I'm still short a little bit, but if we get a retest of that 1850 that holds, I think I'm going to take a separate long because I think that'll be that's the potential runner.
Is it trade related news or is it just because the dollar's strong?
I think there's probably a bit of commodity moves in that, but
Yeah,
again, we were saying on the flow sheet, it's a bit of a weird one because it's done nothing and it's come through all the news, all the tariffs, all the Feds, all the data, and it's done nothing. And then on a day when you're trying to find out what's moving stuff, and it's making a move. So who knows?
okay. There's an honest answer. Uh, no one knows.
No one knows.
No one. President Trump knows.
Who knows?
Anyway, let's get to K-Man's reaction on the
Morning,
rever
Dale. Morning,
Good
everybody.
morning, buddy.
Well done on your trades, Dale.
Thanks. Broken clock.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Thanks, bro. Do you think that we could be topping here at 54? What would convince you that this rally we've had from 46 to 54 is over?
More risk off, more commodities coming down. Funny enough, even with the yen not weakening further, we had the Finance Minister Katayama coming out that the moves are still one-sided, that she's still keeping a very close eye on things. And then we had Takaichi with a bit of double-tongued Japanese style comments saying that Abenomics actually didn't do too much for the growth in Japan. So the market understands that she may not go full bazooka like Abe did during his time, and all of that. Though this whole combination is that doing that the yen is a bit stronger today. Yeah, I wrote something up quickly in our
Look
chat.
at
Uh,
look at that. I saw a feature. The Nikkei is went parabolic
yeah, and then
along
and then
along
when
with
it
the
comes down,
Kospi. Yeah,
the yen responds, right?
yeah. So it's
Still very much correlated.
yeah. So Nikkei was parabolic, and the Kospi was too. The South Korean
Mm.
market. I don't know why they both were, but I mean, completely different chart than
Well,
obviously, yeah, S&Ps are not, even though they've
no,
been
but
strong, they weren't parabolic.
yeah, but in Japan, it's the outlook for Takaichi spending more money, sending more checks and spending money and coming out with big budget increases. But the thing is now, she kind of said that she's going to work on growth strategies for the summer of next year, and all of that in the mix has made that the yen has seen some profit taking and trading a bit stronger today. Yeah?
Yeah.
I
So
mean, all the calls for saying that it's all now all over. You see, Takaichi is not going to be Abe. Version 2 are, in my opinion, a bit premature. You, of course, she can end up being because she wants to be like Thatcher. She doesn't want to be like Abe, really. But could all turn out being a mega yen bull story. But I think it's too early.
early for that. Yeah. So yesterday I noticed, this was the gap we had Monday,
Yeah,
with President Trump having the framework for a deal with China. And the Dow was the first one to fill it.
yeah,
It actually filled it yesterday. And I didn't think that these were breakaway gaps. I mean, a breakaway gap after this kind of advance would have been, I don't know, Back to the Future, Twilight Zone, whatever.
mm,
But it's officially an exhaustion gap.
yeah.
So what comes out of? I'm going to ask all you guys, what comes out of your exhaust when you drive?
Oh, it depends which car you're driving, Dale.
No, they all do. What
Yeah,
comes? Yeah,
I don't
fumes.
know. Some is just water.
Well, no, oh, really? Okay, yeah, if they're electric. But what the word I was going for was fumes.
Yeah,
So markets rallying on fumes now. So
yeah. I mean, I think we already spoke about it yesterday, right? And I repeated it on the flow show this morning. I think the more the more this shutdown lingers, the more there is a risk that equity markets should respond negatively to it. There's a few voices here and there that there could be some kind of solution on the horizon, but it still depends on that number of votes, which Ryan rightly said was not a big number that should move from one side to the other to end the shutdown. But for the time being, they're not there. So isn't this just as this shutdown continues, stuff is starting to look a bit ugly. Mike is saying the shutdown should be dollar negative. The thing is, Mike, you never know when the correlation algos are going to give up. This is what we're seeing now is a pure risk off move. You see, the dollar catches a safe haven bit, which is a natural correlation that we have from time to time. You see the yen catching a bit, which is also a natural correlation. The thing is, where is the inflection point? And that is going to be important. I agree with you that in the end, if the shutdown continues to linger, even with stocks coming off, that correlation is going to break down. But I don't think it's maybe still a bit early for the correlation to break down. Yeah?
okay, so I've been waiting for gold and silver to rally. For all the red I've seen at times in the gold, it still doesn't look ugly. Still looks like it
Stubborn,
has to. Look how it's compressing here
stubborn.
between these moving averages. I still think we're going to pop to 4,100.
Yeah, yeah. That
I don't know
41
what'll drive it, but maybe
more risk off.
um,
Yeah,
maybe the dollar peaking in here and pulling back.
Yeah, but as you see, the dollar has what the gold that's done has done that big move, yeah, from 4,300 and above down to 3,900. But that
yeah,
was independent of the immediate dollar move, and now we
yeah,
are sideways for the
yeah,
past week and
yeah,
a half, and the dollar
yeah.
has strengthened. So maybe it's going to come with a weaker dollar. But I think for the longer the shutdown goes on, the more there is the risk that we have see that pop back up to 4,100. I think, yeah.
Okay. Um, Something I know this gold silver ratio, this was a big run, and this is why silver was so much weaker on the initial decline than gold. To me, this looks like it was just a pullback and we could run again, which again um, is saying that silver will underperform. So it didn't early. I mean, that's how we had this when silver was real strong last week or this week, and gold wasn't doing much. But now, if we're headed back up through 86, that says your preferred short should be silver. So we'll see. Today's an example of it. Silver down 0.76, gold down 0.18. Um, anyway, it's good to have Blake back. Welcome back, Blake. No, you
Hey,
probably
thanks,
had a
coach.
no, you probably had a great time. You have your sea legs.
I actually had a wonderful time, and unfortunately, I'm not feeling too great. My wife got, she came down with a cold like she
Yeah,
started feeling it the last day. So of course, yesterday travel day, it kind of caught up with me a little bit. But man, great time. Napa's a beautiful part of the
yeah,
United States, and if
yeah.
you enjoy wine, it's some really, really great wine. You know what I did learn? I learned a factoid. Napa Valley only produces 4% of the wine that comes out of the United States. 4%. That's
Wow.
it. Yeah,
Oh,
it's because all the rest of it's really crappy box wine that gets, made everywhere else. But I found it really interesting. Yeah, but it was beautiful. It's beautiful country, and we
Out here in Temecula, they have a lot of wineries, of wine country. I don't know if it's box wine, but I mean, it's not going to produce as much as Napa anyway. But there's dozens and dozens of wineries here.
Yeah, and I've had Temecula wine. I'm say I'm not a huge fan, but you know what? I was a huge
Okay.
fan of Dale. You would have really enjoyed the last night we went to the Blue Note, which is a jazz club out of
Uh,
Napa. Now they're closing its doors. I've gone there every time I've been to Napa to watch great shows, and they're closing it to reopen in San Francisco. So it's interesting.
oh,
I know it's kind of a bummer. You
everything's
know,
changing.
it
I
is.
lost ESPN on you. I use YouTube to stream. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're having contract problems with ESPN. So I miss the SEC. I miss Monday Night Football. So I've had to come up with an acronym for ESPN. And what it stands for is Expensive Sports Pay Now. Okay, that's ESPN to me now, buddy.
That's a new acronym, what it stands
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
Um, you guys were talking a little bit about the S&P and its reversal, and you know, today's a really good example of we can't really find a reason why the markets are down. But as K-Man pointed out, it's probably this lingering just lingering shutdown, and it's getting to a point where it's starting to get people's attention. But we finally filled the gap, and we're at the 38% retracement of this is when President Trump announced that 100% tariffs on China on a Friday
yeah,
afternoon. I was
yeah,
actually traveling then, and then we're basically at the 38% retracement. So if we start breaking below these lows, that's not going to be good, I don't think, because we discussed this at the end of last week. We had this major throwover of a long term 6-year channel. You can see it, all the way back here to 2018, right? So
yeah,
you got this like throwover, and then you have another minor channel that's that is the inside of that one. It's in turquoise here. You can see it in teal or whatever color that is. So if we start breaking into new lows, especially when you don't really have a catalyst, like there's not something you can just really put your finger on that's really driving the markets lower. You might get continued profit taking, and we're in a period where a lot of traders probably got long, expecting this seasonally to be a better time to be long equities, and that's not working out for them. So I think you got to keep a really, really close eye on what's happening here. The dollar looks super strong too. You've got obviously the euros trading below 115. The butterfly pattern would point us all the way down to 114. So that looks like there's further downside there. Ryan was just talking about sterling. We've broken down, so that continues to bleed lower. And doesn't matter what the RBA did, even if they left rates unchanged, we're continuing lower with risk after having that Gartley pattern reversal from a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
And the dollar CAD looks threatening. Like if we break these highs, we're going to that 143 level, which it would be the completion of this this rounded bottom, wedge breakout that should take us towards 143, and that looks entirely possible. It doesn't look like it wants to relent much. So if risk aversion continues to stay strong, you get this. You hear the comments from one of our viewers. It's like the shutdown should be dollar negative, but when people are a little worried and you start to see an acceleration of risk off, people are more looking for liquidity, and if they're looking for liquidity, that's when they're running back to the reserve currency, regardless of who's the catalyst. I mean, you could have you could have had that same argument when we had the housing crisis back in 2008. It was originated in the United States. No one gave a shit. Everybody just wanted to buy dollars because it became a liquidity issue. So that's right now, if people start panicking and you start seeing selling accelerate, the dollar is probably going to be in demand, probably more so against commodity currencies. And as Ryan pointed out, the dollar Mexican peso looks very threatening right now.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it does. And this is one that I think all of us need to be very, very considerate of, because you look at it technically from this 2024 low to the high here in 2025. We did hit the 618 retracement back at 1820.
Bang on the money.
Yep, we overshot
Bang
it.
on the
A
money.
lot of us got long it down there. And now I'm looking to re-engage with longs, because I know there's probably a lot of people are
Sure.
long these emerging market currencies for the carry. And look at the dollar rand, perfect rejection, double bottom.
Yeah.
This extension right here, I mean,
False
this
breakout that we might end up with here. Or false breakdown
yeah, and
with your red line. Yeah.
this will take us right back to the 200 DMA. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of room. And if you trade the dollar rand, that's a lot of money. If it's, I mean, for those of us that trade it, we know that move right there equates to a pretty big rate of return if you're on the right side of that. So, I think the dollar looks angry. There's a lot of people that are
Yeah.
short dollars, and the dollar looks kind of angry here. And let's not forget, long term, the dollar's had a really big pivot. We're at the 100 level at the 127% extension, but we're coming out of a nice consolidation. And why can't we test 102, 103 again?
We will.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Looks like it to me.
The problem is, if we're getting some of these moves today, okay, yes, we're getting a bit of US risk off, if you like, or dollar risk off, whatever you want to call it, risk on. But the problem is, if these are all small moves, we've been in this position before where, here we go, we're on for a break, and then it peters out, or something changes, a bit of data drops, and it goes the other way. If we were getting these sort of moves you know, if 115 was breaking a continue, which could be a bit of a continuation from what we had last week from the Fed and everything else, then you've potentially got something like dollar MEX. It didn't do anything last week. And now it's breaking when you think, well, why is it breaking? So though it's moves like that, you've got to be a bit careful with. You can get in a trade, you can run with it, but you've got to be quick to take your profit, and you've got to tighten your stop up behind it, because if you do get a flip around, you don't want to be left holding the bag while something's, you know, reversed on you, and now you're 50 pips offside, asking why did that happen? You know, you've got to, if you're going to trade it, run with it, take your profit when it's there, protect the rest of it. Don't get sucked in to what might flip around a day later.
Well,
You know, you can't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, buddy.
Go ahead.
Oh,
No,
well, I'm
no,
just
please.
saying. I'm just saying that you know, when I asked you why we have risk off, and you said, well, people just got out of bed, felt nasty. The fact that there isn't anything that you could pinpoint it to, piece of news or data, I think is more bearish.
Yeah.
That, you know, that we don't have a reason why it's down. And once we start to get the reasons, then, you know, it's probably close to being over, at least short term. But everyone's probably going to say the same thing all day. Why is the market down? I mean, I found some reasons, but most
Yeah.
people don't look at credit spreads. They don't look at the junk bond market. Anyway, they don't look at divergences. So I'll be interested to hear what the reporters say about today.
Yeah, it's one of those times where it's not just one reason. You could find 5 reasons for these moves.
Yeah.
Which one are you going to believe?
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, you look at this, like, I totally get what you're saying, Ryan, as far as not wanting to, you know, you take profits kind of early, be careful chasing. But the S&P is pretty clear to me. If we break these lows, like this is the 38% retracement right below here, we start
Yeah.
breaking these levels, then that puts, you know, these lows right here at the 618 right into that goes immediately into play. So you got, you know, 50, that is approximately 90 S&P points. 90 S&P points is not a small move. You know, I've been sitting short the S&P since 6,900. My average is at 68.97. I'm still short the S&P. I'm actually
Nice.
looking to add to it. So,
Yeah.
and you know, if you're a Forex Analytics subscriber, you already knew that, you know, we were looking to sell up there, and I'm actually looking to add, because I look at adding in a situation like this is, if I wasn't short, I would get short right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, so
You've already got some margin in the trade. But
I do.
if you were shorting that break as a fresh trade, you wouldn't wait for 100 pips above that level to get out.
No, if I was going to short, I have to look at it a few different ways, Ryan.
Yeah.
If I'm going to add to something, I'm not adding to it unless I look at it as a fresh trade and I'm like, I would short that breakdown.
Yeah.
Or if you were like, okay, if I'm long, where the hell am I going to get out? If I'm sitting here going, my stops need to be right here, then that's a good entry point for me as somebody who wants to play the short side of the market. So I have to take a couple of different viewpoints on why I would take that trade. But I personally will add, because I know that people are going to be getting out of longs at that point. So,
You know, I think the whole market's going to be made. I think it's less than 2 weeks away. It's the whole game is NVIDIA's earnings in a couple weeks.
yeah, it's a couple weeks, but between now and a couple weeks, we could be
Yeah,
trading
I
5,900.
know.
You
I
know what I
know.
mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can go ahead and wait for that, but I'm not. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's going to be. I think these moves are brewing, and as Dale pointed out, you got to be really, really observant here. That if there's no real reason why the market's going down, that's not a good thing. And so just be extra careful with what you're doing, especially if you're trying to fade some of these moves. But hey guys, I just want to say it's nice to be back. A ton of vitamin C, and I'll be back in the saddle tomorrow for sure. Ryan came in. You know, thanks for the flow show this morning. And by the way, we're all on synced again with with time changes. So it's nice to be all back on the good old schedule.
Yeah, you got that extra hour now.
Yeah.
Right. I do.
So,
I do.
yeah.
Until March, and then you lot are all screwed up again.
Right, exactly. All right,
Well,
guys. Well,
I got a message from Tony that there's some kind of cross up. I don't think he's going to be here today. I'm going to have to reschedule Tony Nash.
oh, okay.
So yeah, so he thought it was next week.
Got it. Well,
Yeah,
for
he's not
those of you,
here.
if you guys haven't signed up for the newsletter to learn more about trading analytics, we give away we've been giving away trader funding program assessments. Jump over here in the middle of our website. Jump in the newsletter. It's free. We had a meeting this morning on some of the upgrades and what we're doing, and we're gonna have that. We have another meeting tomorrow morning at like 3 in the morning. So make sure you guys are staying on top of all this by just being, just make sure you're on our newsletter. It gets distributed every Sunday, and we'll keep you abreast of what we're putting together for you. So, Dale, I'm going to pass it back over to you. And thanks, Ryan, K-Man, Dale. Good to hear you guys. Good to be back with the team.
Yeah, it's not, it's not a team without you. Hey, you're like the quarterback. So we had some backup guys come in. They did a decent job, but it's great. Always great when your starter returns to the lineup. So I footballitis right now.
But yeah,
So
it's unfortunate. I mean, even the Cardinals won last night with Jacoby Brissett, which is
well, I couldn't watch it because YouTube and expensive sports pay now is not on my streaming anymore.
oh
So
man.
anyway, thanks Ryan very much and K-Man very much and
Coach.
team, have a great day the rest of the day and everyone here. If you were able to catch any of these moves and you knew that Blake was shorting S&Ps before this and maybe my Euro call helped you or the yen getting back into the formation. Invest a little bit of those funds into being part of our family here. And that's a wrap. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. Adios. Thanks, team.